This is the Hartford Online Radio Network. 21st Century Audio. Delivered on thehorn.com.
Be firm, be fair, be sure, beware. On your guard, take care. While there's such temptation, one thing will lead to another. Too late to run for cover. She's much too close for comfort now. Be wise, be smart.
Good evening, folks. It's Tuesday. It's the Hartford Online Radio Network on thehorn.com, and this is Open for Business, the show that features hands-on business owners, managers, consultants, sales managers, everyone that has anything to do with running a business here in the 21st century and primarily here in 2012. Our sponsors are Gateway Financial Group, the accounting firm of Budwitz and Meyerjack, Sherper Technologies, and CentralCTDental.com, which is the home of Doctors Camp, Zambor, and Lupini. Now, those of you that tune in to us on a regular basis are saying, what's that theme music? I'm wondering how many of you recognize the artist behind the music that's being aired as we speak.
Oh, everybody knows this guy.
You think so? I hope so. I hope so. Well, it's Sammy Davis Jr. You're going to find out in a moment why we're playing Sammy. Our guest this evening is Jason Soucy. Jason, welcome.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're really glad to have you. Obviously, Ken Cook is here as co-host, and Ken's going to start off with a couple quotes because, again, those of you that tune in on a regular basis, microphone just got lost a little bit there. Or was it too hot? Okay. Those of you that tune in on a regular basis know that we'd like to start off with quotes.
Quotes there are. And for those that don't know Jason, he is the Director of Sales of the Travelers Championship, which is, as he says, 40 long days and nights away for him. Ton of work to do. And homage to Sammy Davis Jr., Greater Hartford Open, History of the Travelers. A couple of quotes which I thought were most golf appropriate. So I'll start off with one. Coming out of the basketball world, Michael Jordan, I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. Every golfer can relate to that. More importantly, and Brian, this is for the golfer in you.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure your worst enemy doesn't live between your own two ears. That mine does.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, mine absolutely does.
Great quotes.
No question.
We love
no
it.
question.
So, Brian and Tommy, this is a night about golf. I love golf. Yeah. Jason, welcome. Glad you're here.
No, thank you. And I think that that quote was apropos for why I'm in the golf business and not a golf player. Is my worst enemy is definitely between my two ears.
So you are 40 long days and nights away. You are in the midst of your absolute crazy season. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect with the championship this year.
Yeah, it really, when you say crazy season, it is amazing to me, this time of year, how it just appears upon us. Yeah. You know, we have all these grandiose visions every year of what we're going to implement, what's new, what's exciting, and then, we end up with a situation where, lo and behold, here we are 40 days out. We are definitely in full-out execution mode. But last week was one of those weeks when you get excited about being involved with Connecticut's largest sporting event. We had our immediate defending champion Frederick Jakobsen in town, or Freddie as we call him, and he flew in, and it was just a breath of fresh air. I mean, he's a really unique individual, and he spent the whole morning with us. We had a Metro Hartford Alliance breakfast in the morning with 150 or so business leaders from the region, and Freddie was able to share some great stories and anecdotes about his life on tour, and then we brought in all the regional media, and that time of year for us is really...
You didn't bring in all the regional
was it lost in the mail, your invite? I'll have to talk to the powers that be.
We're like the nobody. We get more page views in the Hartford Current.
Now that we have this link, I'm sure you'll be getting the invite in advance next year.
There you go.
But we had a great showing. The weather was a little dicey, but the media got out to play golf, which is always helpful, especially this time of year for them to see the golf course. And it's amazing how much that's popped in the last... I walked out there, and it's like comparatively in 2 weeks how much the grass has popped. And but first and foremost, it's just for us, to get the juices flowing from the sporting public. That media day kind of kicks us off in this season to get excited about the upcoming summer. And So again, it was great to have Freddie here, and it was great to get everybody the buzz sort of going. For us, luckily, the buzz started a little earlier than normal this year because we had our immediate prior to that past champion Bubba Watson go out and win the Masters. So again, in the Northeast, to gain some mind share with the Sox, Yankees, and this type of year, this time of season, we get some good news when a player like Bubba can go out and win the Masters and then do his dog and pony show out with the Letterman and everywhere, Today's show, everywhere else he was.
That's great. You can't pay for that kind of publicity. That's for sure.
What I love about the Travelers Championship is that your winners are tomorrow's great winners. I mean, Hunter Mahan, first-time winner there. Bubba Watson, first-time winner there. And these are the guys that are the stars of the PGA Tour today.
And we're really reaping the benefits from we make a concerted effort to really go out there and promote what we're trying to do as a championship to the younger players on tour. For example, Nathan Grube, our tournament director, he's actually flown down to the Players today. So he's down at the Players right now. Yeah, he was at the Masters that week as well to say, go for it, Bubba. So he got his, but he's out there, and what he's doing is he's going to go talk to the younger guys on tour, remind them that, we've got an incredible event, the only event on the PGA Tour that's in the Northeast from the spring and the early summer. The fact that's going on right between Boston and New York, two of the largest sports markets in the country. Guys, you might want to think about coming up here, and here's what we're going to do for you. And he lays out. So we've had, to your point, we've had incredible success. We're now reaping Hunter Mahan with his first win. Now he's ranked 5th in the world. Yep. Bubba Watson, his first win. Now he's 4th in the world. We have a bunch of other younger guys. Stuart Sink, when he won, that was his first win. He's won twice. We've had dating all the way back to Arnold Palmer, and we played Palmer's first win on U.S. soil was here in Connecticut. So. Really? Yeah, so we look at it from that perspective. And he ended up being a 2-time winner. He won in 56 and 60. Huh. So we do have that history and tradition that dates back to, again, the Sammy Davis, me as a New England-born kid, first time I ever saw a pro golfer swing a club was at Wethersfield in 83. So for me to come back here to the Northeast and be able to work in this event and see the growth and see the effort that Travelers as a title sponsor has put into it to make this something we can all be proud of as Connecticut residents has been great. And
when did the tournament move out of Wethersfield, Jason?
It was that next year, I believe. 84 was when it. I think 84 was the first year it came over to River Highlands, and then River Highlands has gone through some redesigns over the years, and and there's something else for us that we've got going for us right now is that what that golf course has been done, and Tom DeGrande, the superintendent. What he's been able to do is he's shaped a tournament course that allows us to get these young players to come on out and try to make a name for themselves on tour. Because one thing you look at our top 10 leaderboards, any kind of golfer can be on there. The year that Bubba Watson won was the perfect example of why our fields have been getting better and better. As you had in a playoff, Bubba Watson, Tour's longest hitter. Yep. Corey Pavin, Tour's shortest hitter, and almost on the cusp of the senior tour. So you had that factor in too. Of he obviously wasn't even hitting as long as when he did hit it long, and,
which wasn't long.
Yeah. And then we also had Scott Verplank, who's a notorious kind of grinder out there on tour. So you had 3 completely different games, and that's what Nathan can do when he's at the Players this week. Is he can walk down and say to these guys, "Hey, we are, we're going to host a great tournament up there in Travelers. We're going to have a top 3rd purse, and more importantly." Anybody can win. You're going to come off the U.S. Open. You'll just have played the U.S. Open. You'll just been beat up and hitting the ball in the rough. Take advantage of our great practice facility. Come out here and make some scores and make a name for yourself.
Is that your number one challenge, though, following the week after the Open?
One of the I wouldn't say it's necessarily that big of a challenge because look at all the other tour events that happen throughout the entire summer. I know I would take my date over a date in July or August, especially here in the Northeast. Yeah. That being said, I think our number one challenge is that life gets in the way of things for everybody when you're a private contractor. Okay. So you were dealing with a player, not a tour. So, whether it might be, hey, this is someone's daughter is graduating from high school that week. Someone's got
I see what
obviously
you mean.
June in the summer it's a wedding season. So you might have someone who's got an incredible affinity for the golf course, has a past history or track record for success, yet something might be going on in their life that's going to take precedent. And one of the things we have a challenge with these days more than anything is the fact that these guys, the number 100 ranked player on tour, is probably making $1 million. So if he can skip a week that might mean something to his inner circle, his family, and then say, well, I've got 30 other dates out there I can pick from to try to go after a few million. And what we try to do is combat that by working with Travelers as a title sponsor, working with all of our founding partners to invest in the tournament to make it something special and unique that they're going to want to be a part of, and then keep that purse to the level where they're going to say, well, not a bad week to come to Connecticut. More importantly, they've got one of the best practice ranges on tour, so after the U.S. Open, I can come work on my game. We just try to get rid of the obstacles, and then that gets you a field. Because quite frankly, in some respects, right now, it's a West Coast Open this year in San Francisco. We might actually reap the benefits to a degree because some of the folks, San Francisco is such a hotbed for family, travel, etc. Some guys might say, well, maybe we'll go in the week early with the family, do something. Maybe I'll stay an extra day, taking a show or do something, and then instead of flying across coast and across ocean to play in a European Tour event that I might look to play, maybe I'll just stay and then fly to Connecticut, be there for the Pro-Am on Wednesday and play in that tournament.
Let's use that as a segue point in regards to the financial impact, both in some of the sponsors that get involved, but as important local businesses and how they reap the benefits of this tour. There's certainly a lot of hoopla, and justifiably so, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, we actually had a study that was commissioned through CERC last year where they looked at the economic impact of the tournament and what it has in this region. Because one of the factors that gets lost sometimes because this tournament has been around for 60 years now and it's been embedded in the community and in the mindset, whether it was the Canon Greater Hartford Open or the Insurance City Open, it's got a track record or history of being, this is the place to be. It's something that people have a passion and a historical connection to. What gets lost in the translation since Travelers came on board as a title sponsor in 2007 is that we are now structured in such a way that 100% of the proceeds go to charities, here in the region. So not only can this be a sporting event that we can all rally around and get excited about and have a big party at all week, but we're going to be generating money that's going to impact lives for people who work and live here in the community. When you take that into account with just the overall job creation, impact, tourism that we can generate from having a week-long event that's outdoor, that doesn't require a sin tax or anything to help build a stadium for. I mean, the golf course is there. It's in existence. We're basically a traveling road show that we're aligned with the PGA Tour with like the best, circus that can come into town, come up, show up for a week. CBS TV comes in, Golf Channel comes in, all the national media come in. You get a great hit on being outdoor alongside the Connecticut River, beautiful outdoor panoramic. Say, hey, this is Connecticut. This is what Connecticut has. Pipe that out to 200 countries. Have a great event. So what we found out from the study was that traditionally about $28 million gets generated in the local economy because of this tournament.
In 1 week.
In 1 week. So since Travelers has been a title sponsor, we're close to like $150 million being, generated. And a lot of that has to do with all local sponsors at any level, whether it's Travelers bringing in agents from all over the country, whether it's, Webster Bank bringing in, commercial folks from metropolitan New York area,
the
Boston.
Buick dealers.
All the way down through that to even just a local accounting firm that might have a key client in Albany that says, hey, come on into town. We'll go to the Travelers Championship. Then we'll go hit Mohegan Sun. Maybe spend the day at Mystic with our wives. That whole compilation, I mean, $28 million is what they've kind of gauged at, but what that real impact is, I'm sure it's even greater. Because, all you have to do is
my sense.
Look at the hotels from Meriden to the airport. They're all full that week. We talked to them. It's the best week of the season for all of them so far. And that's one of the reasons why, we've worked so closely with the governor's office, and with Governor Malloy focusing on putting that line item back for tourism here in the state. We want to be a beacon for tourism on top of being a beacon for fundraising.
We can certainly use it.
So
now, just as an aside, if there are people tuning in right now that would have an interest in being a sponsor, is there a number? Is there someone to reach out to?
Yeah,
is that you?
It's actually me.
Okay.
Jay Soucy at TravelersChampionship.com. So I definitely. That is one of the challenges we do have. Is we run as a charity. So we have our volunteer support that gets out there and generates sales. But when it comes to, we have to deliver a world-class sporting event that's, sanctioned by the PGA Tour and do it with a shoestring staff. And we have to take into effect that every conversation we have about what can make this tournament better, is that going to take away money from generating what we can do for our charity partners? Is it going to be important for the tournament? But at the same time, is it going to come at a cost? And we have to weigh those options as to what's going to be better for our charities overall. Like if we can have a new concert series sponsored by Power Station Events and bring live shows on campus and have something during tournament week, that's great. Ultimately, is that going to help us generate more money for our charities? That's what we have to weigh that opportunity. So, that being said, I am the director of sales, and I am the essential sales department at the same time.
And just so you know, for those that are tuning in, this is Jason Soucy, and he's with us today from the Travelers Championship, and is indeed the director of sales. Now, another question for you: if we had 50 people walk in this room right now, we asked them about the Travelers Championship and asked them in regards to the charities that you just described, and the fact that indeed that's what you guys are, a nonprofit. How well do you think those 50 individual people would be aware of the points that you're bringing up to us in this particular moment?
I don't think the answer is going to be what I'd want it to be.
I'm going to agree with you. Yeah. I don't think that's top of mind awareness at all.
And I think that's one of those things we battle with. Again, we just had Media Day. You bring in Freddie Jakobsen. He's a guy on tour. He's won big over in the European Tour. He almost won the World Match Play Championship over in Shanghai. He had the lead going into the last hole this year. But his first win on the U.S. Tour was last year at our event. He's not someone that, readily has the name recognition, that you would think. But he's an incredible guy, charismatic. So even that's a perfect day. Like that day we can bring in St. Francis, our presenting sponsor, and talk about the foundation and what we've been able to do with them. We can talk about military appreciation. Sometimes that message is just going to get lost. No matter what we're doing, people are going to take away with it, oh, I saw a tour golfer today. I learned something new about him. And it's like we have to grasp at straws as to what people are going to pull away from it. And that's, to be honest with you, that's kind of why we focused on this event needs to be more than just golf. We're trying to touch as many people in the state of Connecticut with something they're going to have an affinity for, something that they're going to have a passion for, that's going to make them say, wow, I cannot, week after Father's Day every year, I need to make sure I'm at the Travelers Championship for at least a day. Whether that's, I love going to that concert series because who doesn't love a lawn concert? And oh boy, that was free, so I'm going to hang out. I'm going to be able to watch golf.
Give us some examples. What are the specific other affinity things tied to the championship?
Well, and do you have, my big question is, do you have an official online netcasting sponsor yet?
I work it, Brian.
I would be happy. I have $13 in my wallet.
I was going to say,
right
we
now.
don't have the
Cash
official tagline. I think one of the reasons might be is that because we are a charity, we don't like the exclusive tag as far as giving someone that official.
I don't need exclusive.
Well,
I just need to be one. I just want to be one of the many.
Well, let's definitely talk post-show.
He has a golf club here, too, if that helps at all.
I did see that.
Right,
I did,
exactly.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that was just to keep me in line or not.
That's right.
Yes. The host, the host adjuster.
So, throughout the whole week, granted, that's what I think makes golf such an enjoyable experience. I've got two daughters, ages 9 to 6. They think, what's Daddy doing with that stick? They don't even. They're around golf their whole life.
That could be edited wrong.
Yeah.
Oh no! I'll clean my room. I swear.
So they look at it from, it's not something they personally get excited about, but I look at it as, because of the amount of hours we all work these days, because of what we do in our nonprofit life, whatever we do in our extracurricular activities, there's less time to spend as a family unit, as much as any of us would like. But where I find people gravitate to these days is, let's go to that movie theater and sit in that dark movie theater for 2.5 hours and not really interact with each other. I feel like there's the stuff that families want to do. We've been priced out of what I used to look back to as a kid, going to Red Sox doubleheaders, day-night doubleheaders. I mean, that now I'd have to take out a loan to be able to do that, you know. So we look at it from like, let's create a family affordable entertainment option that people can take advantage of, you know. So let's do that in such a way. So we have sponsors that have helped us. So for example, Monday through Sunday, we actually have some sort of programming that's going on that just about outside of the normal golf competition. Hey, we get the world's best golfers coming in to play golf, but Mondays is our Aetna Pro-Am, so you can come play inside the ropes.
Let me ask you to hold that as you can hear Mr. Sammy Davis in the background. We're going to take a break here.
Yeah, we're going to let you folks know, though, once again, that Jason Soucy is with us, Director of Sales for the Travelers Championship. And if you are not following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, then right now, in this very moment, is a good chance to start. Before we actually cut the break, I'm going to read one of our sponsors' commercials, and that's centralctdental.com. As I mentioned, it's the home of Doctors Camp, Zambor, and Lupini. So if there's a serious issue or just a routine checkup, there is nowhere else to go. They're easy to get to. They are located on the Plainville-Farmington line, and you can reach them via phone at 860-747-5761. Or, of course, you can make an appointment online at centralctdental.com. We'll be back with you in a moment with Jason Soucy from the Travelers Championship.
Bubba Watson Jack PC is a large Connecticut-based CPA firm with offices in Cheshire and Farmington, Connecticut. Large enough to handle engagements of enterprises with annual revenues in excess of $100 million, yet small enough to cater to smaller businesses and individual clients who expect personalized attention from partners and staff. Client service is the cornerstone of our practice. Our clients have a fixed fee for their audit and tax work. What this means to the client is we're approachable. Personal communication and client services make for strong relationships. Bubba Watson Jack, certified public accountants.
On the Horn. On the Horn.com.
And the Emmy goes to Stats Magoo.
This is Mr. Magoo's first Emmy for an internet podcast. Recently, he came in second place in the Moodus County Fair Chili Cook-Off, and in 1973 was awarded the Sportsmanship Honorable Mention for 5th grade badminton.
Wow, wow. What a shock. I'm just so overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. I mean, got so many people to thank. I mean, no, wait, I have to thank people.
That was Stats Magoo.
I love you, Mom.
Congratulations, Stats. Coming up next, Justin Bieber sings Smells Like Teen Spirit. We'll be right back.
Sandits Travel for business and leisure. We'll take you there. Sandits Travel has been proudly serving Connecticut since 1960. That's over 50 years. And we're ready for another 50 years of superior service. Whether you prefer to come in, call in, or log on, we invite you to explore how efficient, diverse, and fun it is to book through Sandits Travel. Save your money and your time with us. Sandits Travel. We'll take you there.
Sharper than a marble. Smoother than 60 grit sandpaper. On the Horn. On the Horn.com.
Boy, this is like a musical cornucopia this evening, Brian. I'm enjoying it an awful lot. Once again, welcome back to Open for Business. Our guest this evening is Jason Soucy, who is the Director of Sales for the Travelers Championship. Before we get back to Jason, though, we're going to read one more commercial from one of our sponsors, and that is Deepwater Seafood of Avon. It's just for the halibut. Oh, here we go. Anyway, Farmington's Valley's freshest seafood is found at Deepwater Seafood. They will work with you and your schedule. All you have to do is just call ahead. That number is 860-676-9657, or you can even fax in your order at the same area code, 677-2281. Now, if you do that, Deepwater will be glad to set your order aside for pickup after work. Their hours, just in case you're wondering, are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For those of you that are curious about the menu, here we go. Sea scallops, fresh oysters, fish and chips, soup, bisque, chowders. If you're having a party, Brian likes this. It's paella for 12 and a salad. That's all you need. And the paella is made with spicy chicken, sausage, scallops, shrimp, and... you guessed it, just for the halibut. Deepwater Seafood.
Deepwater.
Of Avon. So, Jason, before we wrapped up, we were talking a little bit about, you making this event even, more appealing to the families and all that. And I mentioned when we were on the break that it reminds me a little bit of minor league baseball, and it also reminds me a little bit of what Steve Wynn did so effectively in reinventing Las Vegas.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
for years, all it was, gambling mecca, and now it's, entertainment city. So I think Ken had asked a question. Tell us some of the kinds of different events that you're bringing to the table, and that's when Brian jumped in and had us go to break.
You ruined everything. That's
You
what
ruined
I do.
everything,
I ruined
Brian.
everything. You don't understand. I'm addicted to golf. This is like Christmas for me. Tell me all about it.
Can you come back next week?
Yeah, exactly.
How's the
as long
third
as you guys will
barrel?
have me. And that's why, I look at it from, I see this tournament through a couple different lenses. I have these snapshots in my mind of coming to the event when I was a kid and then coming back throughout my professional career in sports management. And I have those pictures of when the hills were just full of sea of people, and I also have the pictures of what happened in the mid part of last decade when the title sponsor went away, and I would look from afar and I'd see it on TV and be like, wow, that's not the tournament I recognize. And so when I was asked to be a part of this team in 2009 and help really make this truly Connecticut's sporting event again, I was excited by the challenge, but I also saw an incredible opportunity for success. I look at it from, there's only 19 or maybe 20 states that actually host a PGA Tour event. So it's
really,
yeah. So it's actually kind of it's really a nice privilege to be able to say we've got the world's best golfers. We can kind of get in here and be a part of our state, because what we alluded to before, you don't need a stadium. You're not, this is not. Yeah. This is not a cost-prohibitive opportunity. We've got the major networks coming to us, bringing their traveling roadshow into the economy, just like any other convention or whatever would come in, and we're going to pipe that back out to the world. So if we can do that and then offer a product for our local businesses and our local companies that are also working on a worldwide scale now.
Yep.
That's what's going to make this such an enticing event to be a part of. So what we need to do and what we've been tasked with doing, and I was looking through my notes and I see it's like I've got 2 pages worth of special events that we do in this 1 week. And I'm like, okay, we've got double that amount of full-time people on staff, and so what we look at is we say, hey, let's make sure that what I remember as a kid, walking out there for the first time ever, seeing, somebody like Nick Price or Lee Trevino swing a golf club and say, wow, I know I can't do that. I'd like to figure out how to do that. That's the core of this. It's the little wonderment of a child through a grandfather saying, this is an incredible game. It's a great game that spans the generations. How do I be a part of it? But on top of it, it's that personal connection that you can have with your family, with your friends, and be a part of it and your business and build your business. So we say, let's make sure that it's not just seen as just a golf tournament, which is, people outside the sporting industry, that's what they're going to look at and say, well, we don't really dabble in golf. Oh, you don't? Really? Well, how about military appreciation? Does that matter to you? Our presenting sponsor, St. Francis, actually subsidizes complimentary hospitality in the Patriots Outpost all week for any active duty, retired, and any U.S. veteran, regardless of your length of service. Wow. You show up on property, there's going to be a tent there for you to hang out, talk about, old times, share stories with other folks that are in your same, situation along with their families, etc. And that's going to be there because St. Francis says this is something that matters to us, and we say, hey, what better place right now when these golfers are out there playing for $6 million this week to remember there's stuff going across overseas that might be a little bit bigger than them as individuals, and how many lives that touches.
So how do the moms and pa's and everyone in between know all
Listen to this.
Go ahead.
Just to answer your question, listen, I'm looking through this list, Jason, and I'm just blown away. First Tee of Connecticut Classic for the kids, sponsored by Premier Limo. We have Military Appreciation, St. Francis Care. We have Michael Bolton, who's coming in for a concert. We have Casey and the Sunshine Band, sponsored by Power Station Events, coming in for a concert. The Wounded Warrior Threesome, a Pro-Am 3 wounded warriors with a pro playing around a golf together. I mean, that military caddy programs, active duty wounded warriors caddying for that pro in that same event. This really touches everybody. Farmington Bank Fan and Family Day, all-day events.
So let's talk about the nuts and bolts. How are you guys marketing this? How does that word get spread so effectively that, you know, the Tommy Russos, the Ken Cooks, the Brian Parkers, everybody says it's not just a golfing event. There is all this other meat and potatoes that I really want to participate in.
And I really want to hear about the social media side of that.
Yeah, and I think, and that's obviously, I mean, this is all a work in progress. And, you know, none of us on our team expect that we have all the answers now. You know, what we try to do is build relationships with people in the community like you two gentlemen, with whether it's radio partners like Clear Channel, or whether it's
the Horn.
Exactly, or TV partners like Fox 61, the Hartford Current, whatever. If there's a medium out there that's looking to say what's going on in Connecticut, we want them to know what we're trying to do. And like I said, that list we were going through, a lot of that runs through, you know, just a few days. I mean, one of the things we've done is we try to have little opportunities to get out there in the public eye leading up until the event. We now run a 5K race on site at the TPC River Highlands, sponsored by Bloom Shapiro, that hopefully that's opening up to a different population as well. We raise money for charity that actually helps benefit Camp Current, you know, so there's an opportunity there to just sort of kick off. Travelers Week is coming. We do that the week prior. Then we have lots of other opportunities that we try to attack through a grassroots effort. For example, we have a junior pro-am with Golf Digest sponsors a junior pro-am, which this is just a great story. I mean, this is something that goes back for me that if I would have had this opportunity as a kid, I don't know how I would have handled it. But basically, we take an opportunity. Golf Digest sponsors this event where, in order to teach children about, you know, philanthropic endeavors and how that can really impact your life, we set up a tournament where they can play with a tour pro on site on the tournament course on Tuesday of event week in a scramble format. And the only way you can be a part of that is by raising money for charity. You sign up for our Birdies for Charity program, and you learn about how you can go out, raise funds. It's basically a walkathon type concept. Whichever kids raise the most money for charity through partnerships with the Connecticut section, you know, so we try to get out there and work with Connecticut section professionals and their area clubs to say, hey, your kids can sign up for this program and get a chance to play inside the ropes. We work with the First Tee of Connecticut, which now they're in construction right now for their learning facility that's going to be 365 days a year at TPC River Highlands. We already have the Carl Kropick Learning Links Par 3 course that they use. So this tournament this is a Tuesday afternoon at 5 o'clock. No one even really knows it's going on, because part of the problem I think we have is we have so many events that people are going to grab onto what's exciting about them. But to me, that's personally an incredible opportunity where these kids, and they get to bring their own caddy, so they can bring their friend or another junior golfer. So you've got 72 potential kids to have a once-in-a-lifetime experience, play in a scramble tournament with a tour player inside the ropes, and hopefully at the same time they're learning about charity and what that can mean to them. Good point. So that's just one event that's going on Tuesday afternoon that normally a Tuesday at a tour event is a quiet practice round day. Here we're trying to say, listen, let's work with a sponsor. Let's bring something to the table that is going to hopefully impact the community. Let's get that message out. Hopefully there's going to be a poster in the next couple of weeks in most golf shops to say, hey, if you haven't signed up for this, or if your kid hasn't, you know, had a chance to sign up for this, let's figure out. Call the section, call the First Tee, figure out how they can be a part of this event.
What's the age limit on that, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, it's. I wish it was 40, because then I might have a shot for it. I believe right now, I think it's somewhere from 10 to 16, I think is the age range that we're
You qualify, Brian.
Yeah. Sorry. Now, is it a rule that they have to use a drive from every one of the kids in the foursome?
You know, we have tweaked it a bit, because actually year one we played it at just like a section event where the kids played their own ball.
Yeah.
But the tour players were actually the ones that pushed back. They're like, I'm not getting a chance to interact with the kids as much as I wanted to, you know. Yeah. So
okay.
So that was eye opening to me, because, you know, I mean, these guys are out there, they're doing this, you know, 40 weeks a year for the most of them, and to let them say, listen, I'm going to take my Tuesday afternoon of a practice round and I'm going to spend it with 4 kids playing in a scramble, and they're the ones that are arguing with me saying, hey, you know, let's play it as a scramble so I get to spend time with these guys and actually get to know them and they can have an experience. Cool. One year we had a rain delay potential, and I remember I was talking to Brad Adamanis, a pro from with New England roots, and I said, hey, listen, Brad, the rain's looking really bad. Can we, let me know if you want to stop it. I can play the bad guy here, and we can all go in and have a cup of coffee and get out of the rain. He's like, we're 7 under through 7 holes. You're not stopping anything. We're going to win. So I mean, that to me, when these guys are doing this, those are good stories. So that's just one event. We touched upon it with the military appreciation. We're trying to bring it to a whole. Women's Day is an event that's really just taken off. We started in year 1 with Chris Daly came in and did a great speaking engagement. We had Susie Whaley, who's obviously got great ties with TPC River Highlands, do free golf 101 clinic for women. We just kind of keep taking it to the next level. We had Nell Newman come in and speak about Newman's Own and what she's done from an entrepreneurial standpoint and philanthropic endeavors with her company. Last year we had Mika Brzezinski from Cup of Joe come in with Joe Scarborough came up with her, and the two of them played off each other. And, we're really looking to make sure that we can touch as many executive women in the region to say, come on out to the Travelers Championship, because it is the who's who of business in Connecticut. They might not know.
I'm thinking next year, Caitlin, come over here. Next year, we can have the My TV 9-star Caitlin from On the Horn join you, and that'd be a huge draw, because if it wasn't for her, no one would click on our website.
There you go.
You want to get on there?
So besides this platform, again, it goes back to Mr. Cook's question to you a couple moments ago. Tell us about the social media. Tell us about the nuts and bolts of the marketing that spreads this word. I mean, you've got great events, but my concern is a similar one, that if we brought that same 50 people in and said, okay, tell us all about all the great events, we're going to get a lot of looks of duh.
And to interject in that, some of the best tweeters around are pro golfers. I mean, these guys live on Twitter. And it makes sense.
They're out there just, all they have is their phone, so they got to have some kind of app to connect.
Yeah.
They can't really hang out with a laptop unless they're done with their rounds.
So it's amazing how much those guys, to your point, rely on that. I mean, again, PGA Tour is pretty smart in how they promote their players, and because you get such an intimate look. I mean, NFL is by far, from a sports industry, someone we all hope to emulate, to say how you can capture a market and just grab onto your fans and hold on to them. But a lot of time their players,
you don't want to emulate too much of what the NFL
but they're
does.
behind a helmet, but I guess when you look at fan loyalty, what they've been able to do, but they're drawn to the team, the brand.
Yeah.
They're all wearing helmets. Golfers are all out there. What you see is kind of what you get, but you don't get that internal. Maybe you get a picture of your mind. So then you look at someone like Bubba Watson, who is one of the most prevalent tweeters out there. Someone else who committed early, Ian Poulter, from a European side, he lives on Twitter, and the banter that he gets going out there. We're just now figuring out how to take advantage of that. We learned, golf really saw a little bit, probably 3 of our great draws the last few years were all 4, we're in that Golf Boy video that kind of became viral last year with Hunter Mahan, Bubba Watson, Ben Crane, and Ricky Fowler.
Yeah.
All those guys have been in the field the last couple of years with our tournament. And they had that video, and it kind of went viral. And it was the first time that PGA Tour in the most recent years has kind of crossed over into something that was almost more of like a cool scenario. Golf does obviously. There's the country club feel. There's a difference, so it might be a little slower to grasp the social media. But you see how that caught on like wildfire. And what we're hoping to do is, whether it's through our 5K for charity and looking about how those other charity events that are successful use social media to grow. We're kind of relying on our sponsors to help us, where we can both say, what are you trying to achieve? What's important about this from your brand message that you want to get out there? Let's both use social media as an avenue to do that.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt, but having been involved with a number of sponsorship situations in the business that I co-own, is there a requirement that if L&R became a sponsor, do you have some kind of requirement for my firm that I have to then subsequently integrate a certain percentage of my marketing budget, that it will involve the Travelers Championship? anything along those lines, or no?
I mean, we haven't been able. I mean, I'd love to institute that. I mean, I think we look at it from our perspective is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to offer a product that your brand is going to be excited about being associated with, and we're going to try to deliver that in a professional manner, befitting of Connecticut's premier sporting event. That being said, we because we are a charity, like I said, that's that push-pull of how much can you invest in each one of these individual events before you're taking away from your mission, which is to have some of that money
really good point.
Stay back with charity. So we have to look at that from say, listen, let's do this together. Whatever you guys are excited about, we're going to try to jump up. We'll get to our volunteers. We'll get out there, but let's make sure if we're invested in this, we're not only invested in it from a monetary standpoint, but emotionally as well, to say this is something we want to grow together. So we're still in the infancy stages of a lot of these special events. I mean, most of them started in 2009 and 2010. So this whole growth opportunity for the Travelers Championship really is at its starting stages. And when you look at social media, I mean, social media is something that, if you would have told me to jump on the MySpace train 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. So it's like, so there is also a little bit of, we got to protect our sponsors' brands as well. I mean, we've got a title sponsor, Travelers, that, like I said, they're phenomenal in the social media aspect of what's going on out there. But we also want to make sure that we don't let traditional media, fall behind. We don't let, relationships that have been out there for years. I mean, we've got media partners that have been a part of this event since the get-go. So we need to balance all of that.
Absolutely.
You have a ton of masters you answer to, and we have a little bit of time left, but I have one question. Depending on what side of the question you look at it from, how much control does the PGA exert over you, or independence do you have from the PGA of America?
Or
PGA Tour,
yeah,
actually.
and that's a good distinction because I've been on both sides of that, working for both organizations. They are the sanctioning body. We could not hold the tournament without the PGA Tour there. Travelers is our title sponsor. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, the Greater Hartford Community Foundation, that runs the event on behalf of our title sponsor and in co-sponsorship with the tour. All three of those entities get involved with the most minute details of all of these events.
Decisions by board.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that protects us to a degree as well. It kind of protects you from yourself, because otherwise we can get excited about stuff and just say, let's just make this happen. But maybe it makes us roll back a little bit and say, because again, this is something I kind of feel like we are the day-to-day protectors of a brand that so many people in this state have their own tie to. So our job is to 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, is to say, hey, let's figure out how we can make this event better. Let's wear it on my shirt sleeve, on my lapel pin, wherever I can be. I want to be a face for the Travelers Championship. If you want to be a part of it, let me at least figure out how to sit down and listen to how you can be a part of it, and maybe we can figure out a way. And hopefully it can help build your business and it can help build you, moving forward.
Jason, that's an interesting point, because for years now, going back, and I've grown up here, and I'm a, Sammy Davis Jr., Canon, GHO, and all the other iterations, and I'm so excited that Travelers is doing this. But what's smart is they are you guys kissing off air? Okay.
Isn't that okay?
Pay no attention to the public displays of affection going on camera, too.
We haven't seen each other in a long time. So.
But what's great is it always seemed like it was a big run-up for like 3 months before the tournament. The tournament was, oh my God, are we going to get it together? Yes, we did. And then everyone took a nap for like 6 months. And then they just kind of yanked out old cobwebs and said, okay, let's see if we can get this thing going again. Here, I like that you're building on something every year. You're making it better and better and better every year. You're not just trying to throw a tournament together every year. So I applaud you for that. I think that's important.
And we've tried to do that too. I mean, a perfect example is, we do a charity announcement. We try to do a charity announcement every fall when all the receipts come in and we are able to do, and we bring in all our charity partners, and J.H. Cohn, one of our sponsors, puts a bonus pool in there for some of the charities who've raised the most funds for their causes, so they can get some extra dollars. We do that event in October. Traditionally, last couple of years, we've done it at the Hartford Club, and it's been a nice kind of reminder. But we've had, to your point, Operation Shower, which is a really cool event that St. Francis is helping us with again this year, that we're going to host in the Patriots Outpost. We did something in the fall down in Groton at the sub base where we brought in 40 military wives, and they kind of had like their day on Oprah, where you know they just won free stuff. So all 40 military wives whose spouse is across the ocean, you know, active duty for the most part, they're here by themselves without really a support system. You know, we had several sponsors that came in and brought them, you know, brand new cribs from Pottery Barn, all that stuff, and it was really a pretty cool thing to happen. But that happened in, you know, November or October of the fall in conjunction with the tournament. So trying to keep the fact that we're out here working for charity, working to build charity partners throughout the year was something that was pretty cool.
Get the dates in.
Yeah, so we're talking about coming up June 18th through the 24th.
You know what we'd love to do, Jason, is at some point in time do a post-mortem with you, get you to come back and talk about how things went this coming year, right? Does that sound like a plan? And then what's in store for 2013.
Can we give away tickets to the
Yeah,
church?
I would love it. Sure, yeah.
You think so? All right.
If we, I'd love to put a couple pair of tickets to our sponsor club. That's a great 18th hole hospitality venue.
That would be great.
But no no nepotism here, Brian.
No. We give them away to the listeners. No, we want the listeners to go.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, June 18th through the 24th.
Caitlin's got it down. So anyway, folks, thanks so much, Jason. It was great to have you here,
thank
man.
you guys for having me.
With this show could have gone on for another 2 hours.
Easy.
Absolutely.
I didn't even get into the golf.
I know, and you
All
had a
they
great.
did was talk business.
We did have.
I wanted to talk some golf.
I'm sorry.
We do have Patrick Cantley, the amateur, coming back too, the kid that shot the course record. So
The band says wrap it up.
Okay, we're wrapping it up. Again, open for business. We'll see you next week. Jason Soucy from the Travelers Championship. Thanks. We'll see you again.
Thanks,
Take care,
guys.
folks.
Cheers.
Bye.